Hello, lovelies. It's Victoria. Just some background as to what happened. I wrote this story for a horror anthology, and it did not get accepted, but it got a lot of attention. And the editor of that anthology said it's brilliant. You know, you should go ahead and publish it, which I'm going to do. So you guys, it'll be slightly sanitized, but there are romantic elements. There's a suspense, thriller, horror, that sort of thing. If you love vampires, this is for you. Okay, so I'm going to start reading. Pull up a drink, a snack. So it's called Scent of the Incubus, and it's by me, Victoria L. Schultz. Here we go. Oh, that one is very special. The elderly shopkeeper peered over her green-tinted glasses. She paused from reading a gold-embossed vintage book to observe her guest. Is this a perfume bottle? Whitney's fingers ran over the round brass filigree frame, then encased a blue bottle filled with liquid. Its wristlet chain tickled her skin while she examined the piece. She flicked aside her long, mousy brown hair to get a better look. In her many journeys to vintage and thrift shops, Whitney had never seen such an ornate bottle in person. A flash of lightning illuminated the dim interior of the antique shop and briefly distracted Whitney from her find. That was close, Whitney shuddered. She unscrewed the cap and took a whiff of the contents. As a musky scent escaped from the bottle, thunder rolled outside and rattled the stained glass windows of the converted chapel. Yes, it was, the shopkeeper agreed while pretending to return to her reading. She regretted not putting the bottle back in the jewelry case with the store's pricier items. A younger, dark-haired gentleman had asked to see the antique jewelry right as the shop opened at 9 that very morning. She got distracted by a regular customer, a builder and serious buyer of antique keyhole plates, before she could return the perfume wristlet to its prized position in the display by the register. The younger gentleman left the jewelry on a side table and exited without a word, while the keeper rung up the carpenter's purchases. She was grateful the first guest didn't steal it. Supposed to storm all afternoon, she cackled. Another burst of lightning cast a kaleidoscope of colors from the window onto the bottle. The perfume seemed to bubble and glisten. A startled Whitney cringed as the container nearly escaped from her hands. She winced, ouch, as a bent edge of the corner brass spliced her fingertip. A bulbous line of scarlet oozed across her skin. You break it, you pay for it, the shopkeeper muttered, flicking the dog-eared pages of her book with disgust. Whitney sucked on her injured digit as the aroma from the bottle enticed her nostrils. There was something intoxicating about the smell. The air in the shop became heavy. Her feet felt weighted to the floor, yet she was lightheaded. The antique seemed to come alive in vivid shades. She swore she heard the sounds of orchestral music wafting through the shop. The raspy voice of the shopkeeper snapped her back to the present. 75, cash only, please, no returns. The woman played with the chain that held her spectacles. She only wanted serious buyers and was tired of people canceling purchases on credit cards. Oh yes, of course I want it. Whitney wrapped a piece of tissue around her wound, then tried to gather money from her purse without affecting the cut. She approached the counter with the air of one experienced in the arts of negotiation. But this edge is bent. How about 50? The shopkeeper scowled. She didn't remember the wristlet displaying any damage when she pulled it for the early visitor. Let me see that. Did you spill any? No. Whitney sheepishly replaced the cap and handed the piece back to the keeper. 65 is the best I can do. The shopkeeper wove her eyeglass chain through her bony fingers. This young woman had the potential to be a repeat customer, but the keeper didn't want to haggle down the price in case the other man should come back for it. Do you have a Band-Aid by any chance? Surprising how a small bit like that can leave such a nasty cut. Whitney attempted to leverage her pain for a discount. I don't, but I'll take it down to 60. Final offer. The keeper smirked. A homeless picker told her he had pulled the bottle from the construction dumpster of a Victorian painted lady rehab. Coated in years of dirt, the picker was happy to get $5 to support his nasty drinking habit. A little bit of spit and polish made the wristlet worth at least 10 times what the keeper had paid for it. Done. I don't need a bag. I'll wear it. Whitney slid the piece over her wrist and slapped 3 20s on the counter. Thank you. Please come again. We have lots of lovely pieces like this. I get new items all the time. Well, things that are new to us. The shopkeeper twittered, pleased that she'd made a good sale on such an inclement day. Thanks, I will. The floorboards creaked as Whitney strolled out of the shop and into the pouring rain. She dug in her raincoat pocket for her keys while scurrying to her vintage beetle bug. A gust of wind splattered the chilly wet across her face and hair, causing her to blink repeatedly. But it didn't stop her from smiling at her luck. She popped into her car with a thud and flung her purse on the passenger seat. She was pleased to see that her finger had stopped bleeding and that the cool chain of the wristlet and bottle tingled on her arm. With a deft flick, Whitney pulled down the visor mirror, cleared her hair from her eyes, and smoothed away some of her finger's rouge spill from her lips. With a satisfied grin, she started the car and drove off into the blustery afternoon. Not 40 feet away, the gentleman that had been in the antique shop earlier that morning had taken shelter under the awning of a neighboring vacated cafe. He took note of Whitney's car and plate number before turning out into the storm. The empty shop wasn't the only thing he left behind. Inside, behind the boarded-up windows, amongst the empty tables and chairs, the lifeless body of the picker was in the early stages of rigor mortis. I'll be home Monday. Miss you, the text read. But do you really? Whitney muttered and tossed her phone aside. She and Perry were complete opposites. She adored vintage things, books, and culture. He was a blonde, tan broker that lived a bit on football and stocks. He drove a Beamer with personalized plates and lived in a high-rise. For 8 months, they'd met in the middle. She went to occasional sporting events. He escorted her to the theater and art gallery openings. They clicked in the bedroom, having lusty, passionate nights. Different was good for a while, but the center of their relationship was eroding. Not only had the specter of sexual boredom entered, but Whitney knew she didn't fit the expectations of his hoity-toity East Coast nouveau riche parents. Her divorced Kansas-bred mom wasn't a fan of Perry and his city slicker ways. As she peeled off her jacket and kicked away her soaked shoes inside the doorway of her cozy apartment, she could hear his voice in her head. Why do you need all of this? He scrutinized her decor and collection of antiques. You'd do better to invest. The jingle of the wrist chain reminded Whitney of her new purchase. She gazed upon her latest prize. With a gentle tap, the errant brass corner was pushed into place. That saved me $15. Her admiration was interrupted by the warmth of her tabby cat as he encircled her ankles. Well, hello, Mr. Muggs. I'm betting that you'd like some of the milk I was just going to add to my tea. The kettle whistled agreement of Whitney's thought. She steeped the fragrant grounds, poured a dish of milk for the cat, and warmed a pretzel. She delighted in setting her tray with a vintage embroidered yellow and tea towel, antique silver, plates, squares of dark chocolate, and a rose-painted cup. An old phonograph played some sultry Billie Holiday while Whitney changed into a 1950s silk kimono, and then lounged on a Victorian fainting couch in her quaint living room. Yes, come on up, she responded to Muggs' insistent meowing. He leapt into her lap and purred against the warmth of her tummy. You're all the man I need, she sighed. Completely content by herself, Whitney searched online, cheerily scrolling for perfume pendants and wristlets on her phone. There were no matches for her new find. My, you are unique. She released the clasp and examined the wristlet more closely with a magnifier. Interesting. An engraved ribbon on the bottom read, Donec Moros nos expart. Isn't that romantic, Mr. Muggs? I need to smell this again. Whitney gingerly opened the cap, and the aroma wafted freely. Ouch, Whitney cried as Muggs clawed his way out of her lap and bounded out of the room. What was that all about? Geez, so much for Saturday night with the cat. But before Whitney could react further, she felt a distinct head rush, brought on by the musky scent. Maybe I'm allergic, she mumbled and replaced the top. I'll just lay back. The room darkened around her as warmth radiated from her center. Her breath caught as she opened her eyes. The room filled with fragrant, colorful flowers and flickering candles. A dark-haired man transcended the doorway and floated towards the chaise. Whitney struggled to move, but her limbs felt like massive stones. The thick odor enveloped her senses. Her heart thumped wildly as the man approached. Whitney blinked repeatedly to see the details of his face. He sat next to her on the chaise, running his nimble fingers through her brown strands. His muffled voice warmed her ears. "I've been searching for you." Whitney relaxed under his touch, his hands cradling her face, his lips brushing against hers, igniting a fire through her. She quivered when he opened her silken kimono, and just as he ran his hands down to her navel, she strained to hear the murmurs of his voice. And suddenly a persistent bell chimed, breaking the erotic spell. "Dang it, Perry!" "Hello," she mumbled, her hands flirting to clean up the mess of snacks strewn about while putting the phone on speaker. She sat up on the chaise as the record player clicked off. Her phone was buzzing incessantly against her thighs, causing her to snap it up in a fit of nervousness and sending the tray and dishes clattering to the floor. "Hello," she mumbled, her hands flurrying around. "Hey, you go to bed early? You didn't respond to my text," Perry whined. Whitney could hear the familiar cacophony of drinks and patrons of a sports bar in the background. Yeah, I ran errands today. Cleaned up, worked out. Thought I'd lie down," Whitney fibbed, then immediately wondered why she bothered lying to him. He'd been distant, not calling as often. Intimacy was burning out like a cheap dollar store candle. "I just wanted to say that I missed you. I'll be back on Monday." "Sure, sounds good. See you then." Whitney wrinkled her nose at the amount of spillage on her vintage kimono. "Are you okay?" He actually sounded concerned. Whitney didn't know how to process this. She'd become accustomed to his distant nature. "Yeah, I just need to get some things done." She giggled inside, still tickled by her dream. Or was it? A few weeks later. "It's about time you got out." Josie took a long sip from her bottle of beer and scanned the late-night crowd at the Inferno, the town's local hotspot. "Yeah, things have changed." Whitney ran her fingers along her new vintage piece. In the days since she'd purchased it, the little wristlet seemed to have bolstered her confidence. It also continued to give her the most exciting dreams. She hadn't realized how much her relationship with Perry had soured until she'd opened the magical bottle. "You look amazing. I mean, relax for sure. You color your hair." Josie glanced sideways at her best friend, with one eye on the crowd in their favorite watering hole. "You still with Perry?" "No, didn't change the color. Got a new deep conditioner." "And Perry?" "Yeah, for now. I'm trying to find a way to break it off. Not to be snooty, but I always thought he was a pompous idiot." Josie spat. "He doesn't appreciate you. He's much more concerned with his stocks and ball games. I mean, with you guys, it seemed to be opposites attract. But not so much now, am I right?" "Yep, I just need to find the way to get out of it." Whitney suddenly felt woozy, like when she'd first opened the bottle. "I'm going to run to the ladies. You want to come?" "You go on. I'll be back in a few. That guy has been checking me out. I want to go over and say hi." Josie sauntered away as Whitney slid through the crowd, past the packed bar, into the restrooms. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. After a brief visit in the stall and washing her hands, she dabbed on the perfume. The warmth of the exotic liquid was exhilarating. The moment Whitney opened the restroom door to exit, the air felt thick again. Whitney inhaled sharply as she felt his presence, the man from her dreams, the one that made her feel vibrant, sensual. Whitney couldn't believe her eyes as he stood at the end of the bar with one elbow propped against it. His dark eyes peered at her through wavy dark locks that escaped his ponytail. The lights from the dance floor left a colorful glow on his pale skin. He wore dark dress trousers and a loose button-down shirt. A couple of stray chest hairs emitted over the open collar. Somehow Whitney knew it was him, the man from her dreams. She was moving towards him, as if pulled by a magnet. She swallowed as if to say something when he spoke first. "Hi, you look a little lost." Actually been here before, but it's been a while. Looking for a friend," Whitney stuttered. "Don't you ladies usually go 2x2 to the bathroom?" he smirked. "Yeah, usually, but she wanted to dance with somebody." "Don't we all? I mean, I would want to dance with you." "Oh," she managed a hair toss and a giggle. "Thanks, I'm a bit awkward." "You don't seem it. Where are my manners? I'm Julian." "Hello, I'm Whitney." Julian took her hand and kissed it. The brush of his lips sent a jolt through her. Hi, she trembled with excitement. That's a lovely bracelet. His eyes narrowed in the dim light of the bar, gazing over her new jewelry. I love old things. I mean, vintage stuff, antiques. I'm an old soul myself. So you're a collector? Yeah. Visions of her dreams tumbled through her mind. But that ring is new. It was a gift, Whitney blushed. She'd forgotten that Perry had given it to her for Valentine's, but not for an engagement. More like an expression of his wealth and wanting to tag what he deemed was his. You don't like it, though? Julian pried. Well, it's not my usual style. Whitney's heart fluttered. For a moment, she felt like it was just the two of them, enjoying an intimate conversation. Josie broke the spell with a holler. Girl, get over here. Josie whooped over the music. I'll be back in a moment, Whitney blushed. Certainly, he smiled wickedly. Whitney regrettably slipped away, her head pounding in excitement as she approached her friend, plus a new one. Josie was practically bouncing up and down at the table. Hey, Whitney, this is Darren. Hi, Whitney yelled over the club music. So where were you? I wanted to pull you out on the dance floor with us, Josie squealed above the din, clearly smitten by her pickup. You didn't see him? Whitney glowed. Who? The guy at the bar. What guy? Tall, lean, dark, wavy hair, ponytail. He's over there. Whitney took a step backwards to point at the bar. But Julian was gone, and it appeared that everyone had moved out onto the dance floor. She could still feel him. As the music pulsed, the dreams flashed through her mind. How he touched her, whispering tantalizing words. How his scent was the same as the perfume in the bottle. Hey, come on now, Josie snapped her back to the reality. Maybe he'll be back next week. Darren has a friend he wants you to meet. Okay. Whitney trudged back to their table, dejected. Where did he go? That was him. I know it. After meeting Julian in the flesh, Darren's buddy was nowhere near as enticing. For the remainder of the eve, Whitney nursed a couple of drinks and kept trying to call it a night early. Darren's friend finally got the hint and moved away to check out the rest of the scene. Hey, I should get home. I don't want to spoil it for you and Darren. You think you might go home with him? Oh, yeah, it's happening, Josie grinned. Okay, I'm going to leave. Call me tomorrow. Whitney grabbed her purse. Yeah. The crowd was starting to thin out. It was clear that Julian had left. Damn, but why do I feel him? Whitney wistfully searched around the parking lot before jumping into the Beetle, flummoxed that she couldn't find him, and didn't think to get a phone number. As Whitney drove off, Julian came from behind the trash dumpster of the bar. With a smile and lick of his lips, he waltzed off into the surrounding woods alone. Whitney burst into her apartment as a steady rain splattered against the pavement. Muggs was waiting at the door, but once she stepped inside, he made an odd growl, scampered to the bedroom. What's wrong? Poor cat. I haven't been gone this long in a while. Can't blame him if he's angry. Her phone vibrated with a text from Perry. Babe, wishing you good night. Got a Sunday brunch meeting. Chat later. I need to end this. But she couldn't bring herself to do it. Instead, she texted back. Sure. Night. Kiss emoji. Whatever. Whitney set her phone down on the counter, took a deep breath, and mindlessly opened her fridge. Despite knowing what she really wanted wasn't going to be in there. She prepared a make-up-for-lost-time dish of milk for Muggs, but he wouldn't come out. Suit yourself, little furry man, she shouted into the bedroom. Whitney switched out the milk for wine, and with a bit of a flourish, poured a glass and started a bath. It was so inviting to slide into the warm waters and let her mind wander to thoughts of Julian. For the next few moments, the world fell away, and Whitney melted into a fantasy of her and Julian enjoying life's more sensual pleasures. Her imagination filled in the holes of what had been missing in her dreams. Him staying long afterwards to utter words of eternal love. The two of them moving to Europe to live in a historic home on a ridiculously gorgeous farm. The cooling bath water brought Whitney back to the present. Oh, the dream is over, she mused. She climbed from the tub, toweled off, and tumbled into bed. Whitney examined her precious bottle once more before going to sleep. She'd used the perfume sparingly, but even so, the bottle shouldn't have been that full of the liquid. A few weeks later. So, Miss Whitney, your teeth are pretty healthy. However, I must let you know that your canine teeth are slightly harder than the others. A little swelling after your cleaning today. Have you had any issues with them hurting, hot or cold sensations? The dentist rolled back his chair as thunder rumbled outside. No, Whitney fibbed and fought off anxiety as the scribbling of the dentist's pen sounded like a cat's claws on a chalkboard. Everything seemed to bother her these days. The day before, an intern was assisting her in setting the lights for a new show at the gallery. She had the worst headache after he'd blinded her by accident several times. Okay, nothing to worry about at this moment, but we'll keep on observing them. Give us a call if anything changes. What about your jaw? You look a little tired. Sometimes night grinding and TMJ go hand in hand. He turned, and his headlight flashed over her. Whitney's hand flipped up to her face in defense. So sorry, he flicked the light out. Let me check your jaw. Whitney could barely stand his fingers tracing her cheeks and jawline, her skin crawling in goosebumps. Well, work's been a little tense. She wrinkled her nose. Muscles are a little tight. I'm going to have to give you a referral to an ENT, unless you see a chiropractor or... No, I'm fine. Her fingers dug into the pleather dentist's chair. An immense flash of lightning caused the office lights to blink intermittently. Okay then, maybe that's the thing we should close up. We'll see you in 6 months. Go to the front desk on the way out to schedule your next cleaning. He cheerily exited. Whitney fumbled at the reception desk, barely making coherent statements to the dental assistants, and then bolted out the door into another autumn storm. I've got to stop making these late afternoon appointments. I ain't tired as all get out. She mumbled to herself while starting the bug and driving off into darkness on a small 2-lane road. The wipers danced back and forth, trying to clear the windshield of the oppressive rain. Her eyes alighted with a reflection from the rearview mirror. A car was rapidly approaching from behind. Whitney's hand had a death grip on the steering wheel as the driver closed in on her. No way is he tailgating me. Can't they just pass? Without warning, the offending driver passed her in a section of road known to be prone with overflooding. The oppressive vehicle forced a cascade of water to engulf Whitney's car. Oh no! The Beetle started to sputter and the lights on the dash flickered. Whitney managed to pull into the lot of the Inferno before it completely died. Geez, do people have to be so ignorant? Maybe this is just the universe saying I need a drink. She huffed, grabbed her purse, and tore through the rain to the bar. Maybe that hot guy will be there. The errant thought ran through her mind as she pushed into the door. It was a low-key happy hour crowd of regulars that lined the tables. No late-night crowd was present as Whitney slumped to the bar, trying to bring up her phone that was also losing power. Dang. Well, that doesn't sound too pleasant, a husky voice laughed behind her. Yeah, bad day. Whitney's heart fluttered as she recognized Julian's smooth tones. Any way I can make it better? Well, yeah, I was going to call for a tow. My car died in the lot, she groaned. Of the bar just now? How'd that happen? Some idiot nearly ran me off the road. My car got doused. I think I may have flooded the engine. I was hoping it'd dry out. Whitney let her frustrations out. It felt good to have someone that was listening to her needs for a change. Did you see them? No, it was too dark. Well, why don't I get you a drink and I'll take a look at it? You will? A sense of relief came over Whitney. Perry had never seemed to care about anything or any of her needs. Sure, what do you want? With a toss of his curls and wave of his hand, he caught the bartender's attention. I'll have, wine, a sweet red if they have it, Whitney shivered. Sorry I didn't get to chat more the other night. I was with a friend for her birthday. No worries, I'll have my usual. So, Tell me more about yourself. His eyes seemed to penetrate her soul. I work for an independent gallery, all kinds of artists. You like classic things. His fingers traced the links of her bracelet. This reminds me of someone I once knew. Oh yeah, Before she could finish, the bartender interrupted their banter by serving their drinks. Oh, what's that? A Bloody Mary? Whitney was fascinated by the dark red thickness of his drink. A secret special blend. What's in it? It's not a secret if I tell you, is it? He teased. Yeah, I guess so. She bashfully sipped on her wine, still not believing that she was alone with Julian in the flesh. But I'll let you smell it. He lifted his glass invitingly. Okay. Whitney leaned in and blinked wide-eyed at the smell. A mix of spicy tomato with a hint of some sort of greens, like the metallic smell of spinach, or the odd taste of drainage down the back of one's throat, if dealing with a bloody nose. You don't like it? He downed the remainder. Well, no, but each their own, right? Whitney remained kind. Don't blow it, Hermione screamed. Looks like the rain's up. Let's go take a look at your car. He nodded towards the windows. Yes, please, and thank you. She took a last drink and hopped off her stool. Ladies first. He followed her outside, where the temperature had dropped yet again after the rain, causing a thick fog to roll over the lot. I'm over here. They strolled to one of the end spaces where she'd managed to park. Okay, get on in. Don't start it yet. Just pop the hood. Yes, sir, she flirted and plopped into the vintage Beetle. In the rearview mirror, she observed a shadow flickering around the back side of the Bug. Okay, fire it up, he yelled. Whitney grinned as the car started right up with the pleasant roar of the engine. Can I come in? He tapped on the window. Yep, she reached over to pop the button on the passenger side. Well, it sounds good. I think you'll make it home all right. He slid in beside Whitney, and before she could respond, he started to kiss her. He eased his tongue into her mouth, and she willingly surrendered her lips to his. His mouth moved slowly to her neck. Whitney purred in response, hoping that her dreams would become real inside her car. A hot poking, then a burning sensation seared her skin. She cried out in pain and woke with the car seatbelt agitating the tender skin of her neck. What? No! Whitney searched in around the car as the fresh rain started to fall. Julian was nowhere to be found. Once settled back behind the wheel, she frantically peered in the vanity mirror to check her neck. The seatbelt had left a little rub burn mark. She checked her phone to see that the battery was at 50% and she'd missed a call from Perry. It was 11:30 p.m. This isn't right. Maybe he went back into the bar. For a moment, Whitney debated on going into the Inferno, but the lot was almost empty. She decided to go home and just try and see if she could get the car to run. She started it. No issues there. Did I dream this? I didn't take any gas at the dentist. Maybe I've had all these other dreams with the same guy. I passed out from stress after that guy tried to run me down. After a deep calming breath, Whitney drove home alone. Except for her lonely set of headlights, the road was empty the whole drive. The campus of her apartment complex was still. Well, at least I'll probably get a decent sleep, she convinced herself as she strode through the apartment door. Muggs started to approach her, then hissed and ran to hide again. Okay, what is wrong with you, dang cat? Whitney's head began to pound, searing under her forehead, down her nose, and to her teeth. She tossed everything aside as she headed for pain reliever in the bedroom. She swung open the medicine cabinet and popped a few pills. As she closed it, Whitney paused to check out her reflection. She lifted her gums to reveal her teeth. They didn't seem any different to her. A phone call from Josie drew her away from her introspection. Hey, what's up? Whitney tossed off her shoes upon entering the bedroom. Josie was barely able to utter a coherent sentence. Noises of sirens and people echoed in the background. Wait, what's wrong? Take a breath, Whitney said, as a chill came over her. Darren is dead. I mean, we've only been together a few weeks, but I really, really liked him. Her voice quivered. Oh, no. Oh, my God, Joyce. I'm so sorry. You want me to stay with you? I'm going to my mom. She just got here. I can't believe someone killed him at Inferno. We were walking to the car when some dude just jumped us. It was dark. It happened so fast. I got knocked down, out cold. I woke, and Darren was just dead next to me. Blood everywhere, Josie panted. You were at the bar tonight? I was just there. A pang in Whitney's stomach began to ache. You didn't see the police? They were all over the lot. Maybe I just missed you. I drove by after a dentist checkup. Oh, God, I am so sorry. Whitney bit down, and her teeth felt even worse than before. Okay, my mom is here. I'll call tomorrow. I gotta go. Josie hung up abruptly. A warmth on her hand distracted Whitney from her worries about Josie and Darren. A scarlet drop of blood trickled down her hand towards her bracelet. She patted the spill with a tissue and felt another line of warmth sliding down her chin. Oh, man, not in the sweater. Whitney slapped the tissue to her face and hurried back into the bathroom. Upon speedy examination, she realized that her tooth had punctured her lips. But more disturbingly, the blood tasted good. A month later. What can you give me for these? Whitney leered over the counter of the antique shop. Some of her best pieces from her collection were strewn about. Well, you have a few rings that are precious metals. You might do better to take these to a jeweler. I could take them if you don't feel like moving on to somewhere else. This pocket watch is broken, too. It'd cost a pretty penny to repair it. Might be worth more in scrap. The shopkeeper's bony fingers swept through Whitney's cachet with breakneck speed. She could sense the young woman's desperation. A quick offer could net her quite a profitable resale bundle. Okay, fine, whatever. Take what you want. Just tell me, Whitney snorted. The keeper stepped back. The customer had issues. She was a lot thinner than she remembered. She thought she'd had a meth problem, but her teeth were white as snow. You still got that bracelet, the one with the perfume bottle? The keeper wished that the other man would have returned. He really desired that piece. That's not for sale, Whitney groaned as yet another late autumn rain began outside, the heavy droplets sounding like marbles cascading against the stained glass. Well then, $50 for the lot, best offer. The shop owner crossed arms. Fine, cash? Yes, of course. The shopkeeper opened her till, briskly counted out the money, and cackled. Don't spend it all in one place. Whitney shoved the money into her purse and stormed out without a word. A week later. Who you sleeping with? Perry sputtered in the center of Whitney's apartment. You don't call or text. I had to read online that some nut job is killing people out here. I'm not seeing anyone else. I've been trying to support Josie, but I've been exhausted. Whitney winced because she was still seeing Julian, but in her dreams. Those were longer and more real than they'd ever been before. Her nighttime lover was more passionate, rough, sometimes too demanding, and she was robbed of sleep. She couldn't focus. Even running short errands depleted her. Yet, she couldn't wait to crawl back into the sheets to see him. Only problem was, it was getting harder and harder to get any rest. Perry eyed her prized wristlet and snatched it from the coffee table with a snort. Where'd you get this? Looks kind of pricey. It's a collector's piece. I bought it. Whitney cowered in her kitchen doorway while wondering if it were possible to jump out of one of the windows to get away from his rage. You're lying, he seethed. I'm not. You smell like a dude, someone else's cologne or stupid musk. Your apartment reeks like it. You didn't think I'd smell it, like you'd even bother to clean it up? He tossed the perfume across the room. Well, you haven't been here in forever, like you care, and you know I'm not going to change for you. Whitney sniped so loud it made her face ache. Whatever. I don't know what happened to you. I wish I could help you because you're obviously having issues. You look terrible. Good luck, babe. I'm out of here. Perry slammed the door so hard it made her teeth rattle. Oh, screw him, pompous jerk. Whitney eased onto her chaise where the jewelry had landed. She clutched her bottle to her chest and drifted off. Her eyes fluttered awake to a green rolling field. In the murky distance, Julian was chasing some people garbed in tattered peasant clothing. They were vividly screaming as they tumbled over a hillside. Whitney ached, but willed herself to stand. She blinked again, and Julian was at her side. He began to speak, but his muffled words sounded as if they were underwater. Do you remember? Remember all of this? How much fun we had with the others so long ago? Julian laughed and took her hand. The ground seemed to pass beneath them as they floated into a rustic barn. Several cows inside panicked, rushed past them in a flurry of loud moos. The prickly sticks of bales of hay poked at her palms while Julian bent her over, his hands feeling up her skirt, his hot breath on her neck, followed by suckling kisses. Her neck began to burn, and the room turned a deep burgundy. Whitney caught her breath and squinted. A brilliant red sunset was pouring through a slit in the blinds. Did I sleep all day again? She absently pulled her phone to her face for the time. One missed message from work. Whitney, it's Rhonda at the gallery. You haven't been at work for almost 2 weeks. We've sent a certified letter, left multiple messages. If you don't come in or send over a doctor's note by 4 tomorrow, we're going to have to let you go. Please call. We're worried about you. Oh, damn them and their sanctimonious bullshit. They don't know what art is, like this bottle, intricate. Whitney kissed the wristlet. Her romance with the piece was interrupted by the rumble of her stomach. Her head would pound until she ate something. It was time to shop. The refrigerator was bare. The lights of the only all-night grocery gleamed like a beacon for the hungry. Whitney dreaded going inside. The slightest things would set her off these days. A truck driver brushed up against her at the doorway and mumbled a pfft at his burly presence. Watch it, lady, he stormed and stomped out. She moved on listlessly through the aisles of the nearly empty supermarket. God, I'm so hungry. I need what? But what do I want? The sight of a butcher slicing meat enticed her. She licked her lips as the blood trickled over the processing machine. Hi, what's that? Whitney perked up at the smell of raw meat. Steak, very fresh, obviously. The butcher didn't like cutting for an audience. It made him wonder if a health inspector was in for a late-night visit. Can I have it like that? I mean with the blood. All the runoff, or whatever they call it? Whitney shivered. Why am I always so cold, she thought. The butcher raised a brow. The gal before him looked pretty scrawny. He would have tagged her as a vegetarian. I make a gravy from him. I mean it, Whitney fumbled. Okay, I have a lot if you want it. Yeah, I do. How many steaks? 2. Sure. He poured the purge into a foam cup and secured the lid, then hurriedly wrapped the meat. No charge for the juice. Thanks, Whitney shuffled off. You need all the help you can get, honey. He exhaled under his breath and returned to his cuts as she turned away. Whitney ignored the stares of evening shoppers and made her way over to the convenience counter, warmed the blood, licking the lid after moving it from the microwave. A stunned stockboy whisked her slovenly behavior and hustled away. When she finally made it to the register, the elderly checker seemed to ring up the purchases so slowly. Here, just keep the change. I gotta go. Whitney threw several large bills at the stunned senior and rushed out, leaving a few drops of warm blood behind her. In the darkened corner of the grocery lot, Whitney ripped open the grocery bag to quench her thirst. She poured the container of blood down her throat as if she hadn't had fluid for days. She tore through the pristine white butcher paper and ripped into the raw meat like a grizzly. It seemed like the car drove itself to her apartment. Whitney could not wait to get inside to relax. Her headache had finally let go of its vice-like grip on her mind. Darkness had fallen. These days, she always felt better at night. Hey, your rent is so overdue. Her landlord's yell interrupted her blessed moment of relief. His beer belly protruded from his day-glow green t-shirt and Hawaiian print shorts. He wiped back a mat of sweat and hair from his face. Even in chilly weather, the man was perspiring like he lived in a desert. I don't care, Whitney screeched. You're going to need to be out in 30 days then. And by the way, someone hit your cat. It might have been me. Who knows how the hell it got out? He roared back and caught up to Whitney near her doorway. Did you hear me? I don't care, she hissed, omnipotent rage spilling from her lips. Her eyes widened as he stepped back in such a fashion that he almost fell onto the pavement. Well, I'm going to let the cops handle it. Whitney struggled against the conflict ingrained in her while digging in her purse. Why did I just yell at him? Oh my God, I'm going to have to move. What the hell is wrong with me? Her keys slipped from her grip and crashed onto the sidewalk. A fierce rage took over. She bent over as if she would vomit from the burning that spread through her body. Breathe, idiot. Get him. Whitney straightened up in time to see the landlord trotting across the parking lot, his flip-flops slapping on the moist pavement. A gentle breeze wafted his scent to her nostrils. She shoved her keys back into her purse and sprang from her doorway. The parked cars and trees behind the lot rushed by in a blur. She was amazed she could see him in the dark as the landlord fumbled through the foliage. They burst through the last tree line into an open field. A full moon rose above the long grasses. He glistened in the moonlight while pausing to catch a breath and fell to his knees. "You can wait to pay. Don't have to pay at all. Really, no worries," he begged for mercy as Whitney moved towards him. How someone so small had become so frightening so fast scared the heck out of him. Whitney's mouth ached as she strained to say something, and a hysterical sound pushed through her throat instead. Screams awoke her. Whitney grasped her sheet, not knowing where she was. More yells forced her to rush to the window. Outside, the landlord's wife collapsed into the arms of a police detective. The blue glow of morn highlighted the first responders. She pulled her blinds down as sirens wailed, and a coroner's van joined the emergency vehicles. She aimlessly tugged at her robe and listened to the frightened voices of neighbors talking about the building manager found slaughtered in the vacant land behind the complex. "Wow, I never liked that bastard." The sideshow outside was interrupted by a text from Josie. "Want to go out?" "Not in the mood. I think it's over between me and Perry. I might be moving so much stuff I can't deal with right now," Whitney responded, then licked her hands and the wristlet clean. A week later. "Whitney, are you okay?" Joyce's voice sounded distant. It's only been a week since Perry died. You didn't go to the wake or the funeral. We broke up. He was a jerk, remember? End of story." She was abrupt and hungry and could care less. "I'm okay. Do you want me to come by? Do you want to talk?" Josie whined. "No, I'm fine. In fact, I'm going out tonight." Okay. One thing, though. A detective was asking around about Perry's death. They think it was a murder." "Oh, he probably crossed one of his stupid clients. Dinger. Please be careful. A couple people are missing. They think it's a serial killer in town. They don't think Darren's death was an accident. There's been a guy, not on cameras, but some people have seen a dude with long black hair, ponytail." "Well, okay, I will." For a few moments, the sweet Whitney was back. She put the phone down, ran her fingers through her hair, and turned behind her. "Did you hear that, Julian? We have to be more careful," she called to her lover. Julian emerged from the bedroom. "So it is. Well then." "Mr. Cates, this is Josie, Whitney's friend. Yeah, they think a complete psychotic break. She kept screaming for this guy. We think he's still out there. The cops think he did something to her, but she got away. You can call me when you get here, and I can take you to the asylum. Just a heads up, she's not good. She wouldn't see me today, but I have the keys to her apartment. I took a few basic things for her. Okay then, bye." Josie tucked her phone into her back pocket outside of Whitney's place. She had a tote filled with clean undies, clothes, and a few items that she hoped would bring her sickened friend some sanity, including the wristless bottle of perfume she seemed to cherish. But as Josie bounded through a driving rain to her car, the vintage jewelry popped out of a hole in the bag and landed in a puddle. A dark-haired man stepped from the shadows to claim his long-lost trinket. "We will always be together now, darling." He pocketed the piece with a nasty grin and disappeared into the foggy night. Later that day. "He will come for me, I know, and it will be okay," Whitney Cates mumbled to the attending nurse. There, honey, you're safe here. You get another injection today." The nurse fluffed her pillows behind the weakened woman's head. "Would you like something to eat or drink? Doc says you can start having solid foods today." Steak, rare. I'm so hungry," Whitney whimpered. "Okay then, don't you worry." The nurse tucked her in and left. The poor girl was barely surviving, she thought, as she shut the door. Whitney closed her eyes as the pain began to slip away. Just as she was about to slip into slumber, she felt the coolness of the bracelet on her skin. She squinted to see Julian at her bedside. "I knew you'd come back." The end. That's the end of Sent to the Incubus, and it is a vampire Incubus story. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I will post some snippets later when it gets published. So it will be published pretty soon, probably in July, and it will be available everywhere. It'll be on Amazon, Apple Books, Google Books, Barnes & Noble online, and Kobo. So all the major online publishers, it'll be on all of those, you guys. That was the story where I named the vampire in that story Julian after the random hot guy that showed up at my TikTok live a few weeks ago. And then about a week and a half ago, I posted segments of that video and it went pretty viral. And now everybody is wanting to find Julian. I did a kind of live vampire hunt last weekend to try and find Julian. It was even a full moon. We couldn't find the moon. It was crazy. And then we went into the museum and I shared with you guys about different things in the museum that were a little haunted. We went in and I showed you guys those things. So I'm going to post more things about the museum as well. Feel free to go through my TikToks. The museum is the Campbell House Museum, where I'm the caretaker here in St. Louis, Missouri in the United States. And yeah, it's haunted. And I've got some stories about that I'll share with you guys at another time. But yeah, tonight I just wanted to share with you that story. If you want to buy the unsanitized version, again, it's coming soon to all the major ebook realtors. So that's it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be posting more about Julian. I still want to find this guy. He's out there somewhere, although he did disappear suddenly. I finished my live. We chatted for a second. I played with my phone. I look up and he was gone. So I'd like to try and find him. We'll see what we can do. So thank you guys so very, very much for watching. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.